Hi everyone. So, I promise not to do this a lot. However, I think it's sometimes important, and especially when I'm vlogging about something, to stop and say, okay, this is a really important teaching moment for myself so that I can come back and remember it. And maybe somebody else out there is struggling and this is going to help you. So, I'm going to go back to a little bit of the story in the beginning and then shoot forward from there. So, as I was traveling and I found the initial city that I really felt led to be in, I was driving through it. I never stopped in it and I couldn't drop a pin in it. So, when I got back home after we were done traveling, we went back to try and find the city. That is how we came up with McGill. Flash forward a couple of months, so COVID was in full force when we drove through it. It was evening time, but general idea, we knew what was there and what wasn't there. It was a cute little town, kind of an empty ghost town, like a Western type town. Vintage, definitely, very much what I kind of love and the style that I love, and basically needed some love and rejuvenation. A couple of stores were empty and just needed some help. So when I really felt that God said, hey, this is where we're going to put deep roots, I was like, okay, no questions, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And as I was going back over our trail or our path, I went over it and with not alone, and went through the path that we drove and found McGill and said, okay, this must be the place. The pictures are very few online, and the last census had been done in 2010. So while it didn't look the same online, I was like, well, okay, that's fine. I'm going to need to just get down there and see it and just kind of go with it. Flash forward. I get there, or here, and from the very get-go, I drove into the town and I was like, I have full bars, which I didn't remember having full bars then, but I was like, okay, that's one thing. And it just didn't feel the same. I didn't feel right about it. I got to the property that I had been believing that God had said to me when he said, scroll down, or maybe go down, I don't know, scroll down. That the property that I thought that he was talking about was this property. I went to the property, visited the property, took a couple pictures of the property, took videos of the property, never sent them to anyone, just kind of kept them for myself. I expected to be very excited. I wasn't. I took some selfies. I never sent those to anybody. The look on my face is like, which is very unlike me in this situation, that I'm like so excited to be here, waiting to see what God's gonna do next. Never sent them to anybody. Not the parents, not the brother, not Ethan, nobody. I'm like, okay, went through the town, the library that was the first community project that Deep Roots was gonna do. I already thought this through. Who am I going to talk to about donating books? Who am I going to talk to about getting out there and just doing some yard work, blah, blah, blah. I go walk into the library or walk around to the library. The library has been fully restored. Well, the meeting minutes that I last saw for McGill were in December, and that was like the first thing on their list that they wanted done. So between December and now, it's been fully restored. And I'm like, this is just not going the way that I expected. So, thus the last post that said, be still, right? Pray. In all circumstances, you just need to clear your head and let go, let God. So, in the meantime, I go through and I'm like, one thing that I had kind of talked about was my trip down here from Reno. And it was kind of a blast. I'm not going to lie. All my life, I've wanted a convertible. And I don't have a fancy convertible, but I have a fantastic convertible. Number one, it's paid off. That's the best kind of car that I can ever think of. And number two, it's a convertible, and I push a button and the top comes off, and I think that's fantastic. So it was at the point of the day that I could take my convertible top off, and so I pulled over. I saw this sign when I drove into this town that said, "The friendliest little city on the loneliest highway in America." And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? This is my kind of town. I pull over. I didn't need gas. I didn't need anything. I just wanted to see what that kind of city was. And so I pull over, and I took a picture there with me and my Thelma and Louise, minus Louise kind of ways. And I'm like, this is the cutest little town. And I'm thinking, gosh, it feels like I've been here before, but of course, I've never been here before. This is a road from Reno to McGill, and I never took this road. I was on a completely different road on the other side of the state. I know this because I've looked at every single road when we were looking for where this little city was, this city that God told me to be in. So I pull out of my little parking lot that I had pulled into, and top down, wind blowing in my hair, I'm leaving this city, and I'm like, wow, this city's great. I was just in love with this city. So also, city has a clever name, and so I'm like, Eureka, this is fantastic. Anyways, later on that night, I'm talking to my friends. I'm like, look, I got to tell you this great story. I'm like, there's this town in the middle of here and there that's like the coolest little town. It's got the coolest little saying. I'm like, this is a totally Brooke kind of thing. And I'm like, so I pulled over and I was like, I wanted to meet a couple of people. So I went to a gas station and I was like, and sure enough, I was met with friendly smiles and everybody's like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, well, I'm coming today from Reno. But, before that, I was in Seattle doing my Brooke thing, just starting conversations. Anyways. So moving forward, keep going. And as we were looking for answers last night as to how I was going to proceed, looking for where I am supposed to be, knowing that sometimes it's good to know where you're not supposed to be, because that tells you I'm not supposed to be here. Where am I supposed to be? And I'm going forward and I'm retracing steps. And so as I'm doing the Google Drive thing on the drive path, I'm going through and I'm looking at it, and I was like, and I went on the trip with Caleb, and I was like, can you do me a favor? I know that we didn't go through this town. Yeah, I know you've told me that. I know you told me we were on the other side of the state. But I want you to do me a favor. I want you to Google Drive through this town and then tell me that you haven't been through this town before. And he's like, look, if we went through this town, God took us on a really, really, really big sidetracked way, because it doesn't make sense to go from Vegas to home that way. And I'm like, I know, I hear you, and I know that you said we didn't go this way, but can you please just look? So, of course, he looks. And he gets to the town. He goes, that's the town. And I was like, it is, right? It's the town. I thought so too, but you said we didn't go this way. He looks up a little further and he goes, we did go through Elko. which is the next couple towns up from that, he goes, "We did go this way. We never went through McGill." So the town that I've been looking at and I've been wrongfully claiming or saying is the town that we're supposed to be in, we never even went through. So my service that I was given by a young lady who's very special to me, and also I claim to be helping, and I claim to be trying to help her following her godly ways, sent me a sermon about comeback routes. Very appropriate for this time for me. I watched it. I learned a lot from it. But one of the big things about this sermon in particular was in football, they do what's called a comeback route. And if you know anything about football, and if you don't, you should look this up, is that sometimes you have to come back to go forward to your final destination. So apparently I'm on a comeback route. I'm down here, further south, and now I get to go back up north, or maybe it's east to go west. I don't know, but either way, I'm going on a comeback route to figure out if, in fact, I have been in the wrong city this whole time. And had I not met the woman last night, had dinner with her, and asked her about all the surrounding cities, and taken a moment to sit back, pray, and listen, and go through again from the beginning where I was, see where I am, know where I'm not supposed to be, to see where I'm going and where I am supposed to be, and ask God. I just asked him. You know, praying doesn't have to be like this super religious, "Oh God, hello, hallowed be thy name." It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It can be like a conversation with your best friend. "Hey, God, I'm lost. I somewhere along the way, me, the human me, messed this thing up. Because that's what happened. I put my human me in trying to figure everything out, which I do a lot, into the whole situation. And I took the location out of his hands, which apparently he had to put us on a weird route to get there. So here I am today, and I'm going to go and talk to the people that I'm in this hotel with and say, "Hey, I know I've got this place for long term, but what do you think about letting me out a little early?" And I believe I'll have favor, because I do. And then I'm going to go and do my Brooke thing in a different town. So, comeback routes. Sometimes going backwards isn't always a bad thing. You have to go backwards to go forwards. And admitting that I have no idea what I'm doing and asking God for help again and again and again, every day in every way. Again, not a bad thing. And being still and waiting patiently and not busying myself with the small things. It's okay. I can do that. I can tend to busy myself with a lot of small things and not just be quiet and hear what he's saying. The sign was right there, literally right there. He was talking to me all along. Hey, you were here. You were at your destination. You just kept going. I had to pull over. I had a sign there for you. What are you missing, Brooke? I'm talking to you. You're listening to the sermons and you're singing the songs and you're speaking to me. But are you listening to the responses that I'm getting? Are you paying attention? And the answer apparently was no. but I am. So make sure you're paying attention and be still and hear. I believe and I have faith that I'm here for a reason. I'm meeting people where they are. I'm going to love them where they are, no matter what, every single day, period, regardless. That is my mission. That is my goal. That's my deep roots. So, promise you I won't do this all the time, but I want to remind myself as well. These vlogs are very much for me as well, so that when times get hard, and if I need to remember something, I can come back and say, Brooke, you know better. You know how to answer this. You know how to respond to this. Remind yourself of this day, day 7 of your journey. Come back here and know that you are not alone, ever. You are covered, and you are here to do a good thing, and God's not finished with you yet. And that's for me, and that's for you. Whomever you are, wherever you are, God's not finished with you yet. Have a great day.